I know you're not a born.
You put me down, huh? So you put me down, huh? That's all y'all do when y'all get that money.
There are chairs being brought out on the left here, or my left, so if you need a chair, maybe some of the brothers here can help us get everyone seated.
Oh, just trying to.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get the evening started.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's out there, man. You two know each other? We've seen around several times. This is good. How about running this house? Okay, very good.
Yeah, and I'll follow up with you. Time is always the best. Can you, this is not my phone. You got my number. I got my number.
We want to welcome each of you. We want to welcome each of you to tonight's circle of love and appreciation. I'm always grateful when I'm invited to participate in an evening with one of the brothers and sisters from the cultural circle here in Detroit, because I know the room is going to be filled with such beautiful spirits as we have gathered here this evening. Everywhere I'm looking, there's a special light. And this is what makes this city so great. And our village within it is certainly outstanding. Want to take a minute and let's ground ourselves in this space. I don't know about you, but today was a whole lot of running around and talking here and there and doing this and that. And now we've arrived here and we want to ground our focus and our attention. So if we can, as I know we can, let's breathe together. Let's take 3 deep breaths and ground ourselves in this space. that third breath, I open myself up to those energies that are here. All those wonderful souls and spirits who would come gathered tonight to help us honor our sister. All those souls and spirits that travel with us as we are moving through. I feel them in my space. I hope you feel them in this place. I don't know anything better than being a Detroiter. I'm talking about not just being from this physical space, but having grown up breathing the air here, and drinking the water here, and walking on the soil here, and feeling the fire of this place. I can't think of anything better, and everywhere I've gone, people have made comment about the folks who come out of this place. There's a special mixture of creativity and soul, creative expression, power, a dignity that's sometimes quiet and sometimes just gets to raging. Humor, love, family, faith, friendship. I'll breathe it all in. All of that is reflected in our honorary tonight, is it not? Yeah. I used to sit and stare at her. She was just so quiet and yet so powerful. And when I read her writings, I just thought it was going to be one of those kind of Sadie mamas that I was going to meet. Not this graceful, dignified person. A person who spent a lot of time learning and a whole lot more time teaching and sharing. And I am honored to be here tonight and to be asked to welcome each and every one of you to what is obviously going to be another beautiful occasion. On behalf of the planning committee and all the supporters and sponsors who have made tonight possible, we welcome each of you, and we hope that you will leave here touched and inspired, because if nothing else, our sister is a role model of getting it done and getting it done well. There are a lot of other persons who will come forward to preach the sermon, so I'll rest from the pulpit. You hitting that key, brother. And we'll call now Brother Ahmad, who will provide libation.
Thank you, my sister. It's a blessing to be here. Greetings, brothers and sisters. Now, we know that in our African worldview, we believe in three dimensions of reality. The world of the yet unborn, this world, and the hereafter. And before we do anything of significance, we should always call upon those ancestors who are in hereafter. Now, some people who have misunderstood African history, African religion, have called it ancestor worship. But it's the belief that as long as we remember these ancestors, as long as we call on them, as long as we have a holiday or whatever, and we look at their pictures or light a candle to them, they're not really dead. They're still among us. They can come to us and guide us sometimes in dreams, guide us with a hand on our shoulders and say, do this, boy, do this, girl. But as long as we remember them, they are still in our lives. Now, I want to begin by remembering two of our most beloved ancestors now. And after that, we say, Ashe, and so be it, or come on down and join the celebration. Let me begin with Sister Mabel Williams. Brother Chukwueze Lumumba. Brother Robert F. Williams. name of her great ancestors who came to this earth and left us such a beautiful mother she has here, who's 90 what? 94 years old and so proud. Ashe. Ashe. We can call out some other names. Ashe. McKinney. Ashe. 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 Joe Baker. Yes, Ashe. Kwame Atta. Amir Baraka. Bakwame. Maya Angelou. Ashe. Ashe. Coleman Young. Ashe. Ashe. Ashe.
Ken Crawford.
Ashe.
Mario Deli.
Ashe.
Charles L. James.
Ashe.
Jane Cortez.
Ashe.
Jerry.
Ashe.
Malcolm X.
Ashe.
Betty Shabbat.
Ashe.
Charles Thornton.
Ashe. Ashe.
Yusef Latif.
Ashe. Kwame Nkrumah. Ashe. Ashe. Malcolm X. Ashe.
Sumiata.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Motivo.
Ashe. Ashe. Now you can call out the names of your individual ancestors before we finish. I'm sure we all have grandmothers and great-grandfathers who we would like to come and join this wonderful celebration. Let's see your names. Ashe. 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 Now I would like for our mistress of ceremonies tonight, Olivia Saloma, to come forward.
Greetings, everybody. Again, we welcome you in the spirit of love and oneness. It is truly a great joy for us to come together in appreciation of our sister queen, Aneb Congratulations, glorious house. More importantly, we're coming together to honor us, because each of us have made and will make contributions toward our future as a people, number one, and as a humanizing force on this earth. Due to the fact that we, African people, the original people, are the trendsetters. We started everything. All the changes that were made by us. And most of them came through our scribes, our historians, the people who wrote it down, who made the way plain for those who followed. And our sister Aneb definitely fits into that category. In the interest of time, we're going to move forward a little bit. And the next group that's coming out to pay homage to our sister, and you know, African people, we love things. We dance for funerals, we dance for weddings, we dance for the joy of movement. So at this time, we're going to bring together a group of young Black women who are Aneb's daughters. You know, they represent different dance groups within the community, but they're coming together out of love for our sister queen. So let's welcome Aneb's daughters, the community dancers. Daughter-in-law and the mother of her granddaughter, and I'm sure you'll get to meet all of them later on. A couple of these sisters are twins, but I'm not going to tell you who to. But the main thing is, they all like each other. They're together even when they aren't performing. So again, make them feel proud and welcome. from Africa in Detroit. I'm sure you all remember our dear brother, Chokwe Lumumba, who was elected mayor of Jackson, Mississippi, and made an unexpected transition before he was actually able to get into or finish his term. So tonight, in his honor and because of his love and relationship with Aneb, we have a representative of his family who will do a poem that is not only indicative of the love that Chokwe had for our people, but the love that his family has for our people. So please welcome Sister Shoshana Shakur.
I bring revolutionary greetings on behalf of the Lumumba Shakur Taliaferro family, and thank you for that beautiful introduction. The brother who did libations, I think he said something about how our ancestors are still here amongst us, and how true that is. I want to share something that I had mentioned briefly to Aneb, but a few weeks prior to Chokwe's transition from this earth, we were discussing Aneb, and she's going to be joining Sister Titalaya, who a lot of you may know, in compiling Chokwe's biography. And what Chokwe said when I was discussing Sister Aneb, you know, for doing this piece of work, he said, I would be so honored to have Aneb write my biography. So, thank you. And before I get into this piece, and I'm going to hurry up and move along because I know you have a beautiful program planned, I just want to give a little bit of background. Chokwe and Aneb were working with the Republic of New Africa, growing the Republic of New Africa here along with many other members. But I think they were directly working with the youth, who, believe it or not, at that time, I was one of the youth. And so Aneb's position, along with her brother Khalis, was to bring us into the arts, into the culture, into the poetry. And so there I was then introduced to poetry. And this poem by our beloved sister, Margaret Walker, Aneb instructed me and had me perform back a long time ago. And I can't do it like I did it then because she really had me going with this. But what I want to say is that from that, when I became a teacher many years later, and over a 21-year teaching career with the Detroit Public Schools, as well as a youth program of Chokwe's organization that we ran here for 10 years, I have taught well over a few thousand students we've worked with the poetry, the drama, the vignettes, and all that came from a beginning that Sister Aneb inspired in me. So that means a lot to me and all of those students. For my people everywhere, singing their slave songs repeatedly, their dirges and their ditties and their blues and jubilees, praying their prayers nightly to an unknown God, bending their knees humbly to an unseen power. For my people, lending their strength to the years, to the gone years, and the now years, and the maybe years, washing, ironing, cooking, scrubbing, cleaning, sewing, mending, hoeing, plowing, dragging along never gaining, never reaping, never knowing, and never understanding. For my playmates in the clay and dust and sand of Alabama, backyards, playing, baptizing and preaching and doctor and jail and soldier and school and mama and cooking, yeah baby, and cooking and playhouse and concert and store and hair and Miss Chumby and company. For the cramped, the yielded years, we went to school to learn to know the reasons why and the answers to and the people who and the places where and the days when, in the memory of the bitter hour, when we discovered we were black and poor and small and different, and nobody cared, and nobody wondered, and nobody understood. For the boys and girls who grew in spite of these things, to be man and woman, to laugh, to dance, to sing, and play and drink their wine, religion, and success, to marry their playmates and bear children, and then die of consumption and anemia and lynching. For my people, thronging 47th Street in Chicago, and Lenox Avenue in New York, and Rampart Street in New Orleans. Lost, disinherited, dispossessed, but happy, 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 happy people filling the cabarets and the taverns and other people's pockets and needing all the time bread and shoes and milk and land and money and something all our own. For my people, walking blindly, spreading joy, losing time, being lazy, sleeping when hungry, shouting when burdened, drinking when hopeless, tied and shackled, tangled among ourselves by the unseen creatures who tower over us ominously and laugh. For my people, blundering and grabbing and floundering in the dark of the churches and the schools and the clubs and societies, associations, councils, committees, distressed, disturbed, and deceived, yes, deceived, and devoured by money, hungry, glory, craving, leeches, preyed on by facile force of state and fad and novelty, by false prophet and holy believers, my people, our people. For my people, standing, staring, trying to fashion a better way from confusion, from hypocrisy and misunderstanding, trying to fashion a world that will hold all the people, all the faces, all the Adams and Eves. Let a new earth rise. Let another world be born. Let a bloody peace be written in the sky. Let a second generation full of courage issue forth. Let a people loving freedom come to grow. Let a beauty full of healing and strength of final clenching be the pulsing in our spirits and our blood. Let the martial songs be written. Let the dirges disappear. Let a race of men now rise and take control.
Amen.
Yes, let's do it again. And now, brothers and sisters, we're in for a special treat. We had to make a slight change in the time of the different performances because of schedule conflicts. But it is with great pleasure that I now bring to you, you need my one of Detroit's preeminent musicians. She's unusual because her instrument is bigger than she is. But when you hear her sound, you will think she's 10 feet tall. And she will introduce the members of her band. So at this time, brothers and sisters, please welcome Mrs. Meredith Hayden and friends.
Thank you very much. It is my pleasure to be here and to provide some music for this event for my beautiful family here in Detroit and for my sister Aneb, who I love so much. Aneb was responsible for sponsoring me at University of Dearborn, where I teach now, to substitute for one of my great mentors, Ken Cox, who passed, made his transition in a very, very untimely manner, and frankly left most of us in the music community in shock, certainly myself. And it's been my pleasure to teach in Aneb's department at University of Michigan Dearborn since 2009. And I have many of my wonderful coworkers, faculty here, including the great Atman Rahman, and here's my other sister, very, very good. Aurora Harris is here, and so it's just a beautiful place to be able to learn and grow under Aneb's mentoring and her great leadership. So we will present to you two pieces, perhaps three. We're going to make our program brief because we have a great program, and I know many of you have wonderful things they'd like to share. We're going to start off with a piece by Jackie McLean. I have with me one of Jackie McLean's students, who is one of our great musicians. Jackie McLean is one of our great alto saxophone players, and I have one of Jackie's students here on the bandstand with me in the person of Cassius Richmond on alto saxophone. My good brother Jallo Jakate Keita on drums. And then the lineage goes on. One of my former students from University of Michigan, who I've mentored since he was about a sophomore, junior, Michael Malice on piano. This is Appointment in Ghana. Becky was a great saxophonist, pianist, and guitarist from the Hausas. He was a Hausa. And he has written a beautiful song called Man Wabisi, which means bringing joy. So I offer this to Aneb as an homage to her beautiful time that she spent in South Africa. I actually had a chance to go there as part of a faculty exchange in 2010, and I can tell you it was a trip that I will never forget. And I can understand why one would want to go back many times. It is indeed a beautiful, beautiful country. So I present Becky M. Seleku's Man Wabisi. Thank you. I would like to share my credit program with a family that is very, very, very special to me. That's the family of what the great Harold McKinney, one of our wonderful, yes, great pianists, composers, raconteurs, and ideologues. And this is his beautiful wife and his daughter and his grandbaby. And everyone is here, and I will let Gerald McKinney talk to you about this.
Thanks, Marion. Oh my God, this is like coming back home because we were doing praise song that Ron Milner had put together a whole collection of Aneb's poetry. And so it was three of us, Judy Milner, myself, Michelle McKinney, and then there was Nkenge Zola. And we were the three women who had to learn 30 poems each. And so one of the poems that I was assigned was called New African Reggae. And so I was in the bathtub one day. And yes, thank God. And I was learning the poem. I had the poem on the floor while I was in the tub, and I noticed I was saying the poem out loud. I said, wow, this sounds like a reggae tune for real. She must have been listening to reggae when she was writing this. And were you? No? Wow. Because it had that kind of rhythm. And I said, I wonder if I can kind of put a little beat to this. So I put a little beat to it, and before I knew it, a melody just popped into my head. So I would like to perform for you with my beautiful family. This is Amal Muhammad, Jordan McKinney, and baby girl in there. And this is Piper Simmons. And together we are Hakama. Hakama is Women of Wise Words. It was one of the first documented oral historians in the Sudan. And they taught the men, and then the men and all those people migrated to the West, and they became male griots. But it started with the women. That's what Hakama stands for. We want, we want, we want, we want, we want, we want, we want life. We want soil to work. We want night of rest. We want grace to pray. We want bread to eat. We want, sing it again now. We want, we want, we want, we want, we want life. We want cool forests and mountain streams. We want bright sunlight and blue skies. We want, we want, we want, we want clean air for our babes to breathe. Yeah, yeah, we want soil to work. We want night to rest. We want peace to pray. We want bread to eat. Yeah, 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 yeah. We want, we want, yeah. We want what you want. We want, we want, we want life. We want strength for the day and hope for the dawn. We want defeat for our foes. Oh, oh, oh. We want Africa in our hearts and heads. We want tenderness. We want wisdom. See a new way. We want to work. We want light to rest. We want peace to spread. We want bread to eat. We want, what do you want now? We want, hey, yeah, now. We want life. We want shelter and warmth for our family and harmony in our community. Oh, 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 we want the red, the black, and the green. Hey, the green one, yeah. Going to work, yeah. One night to rest. And she wrote it.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's give a big hand to Marion Hayden and friends. But even more importantly, let's give a big hand to Aneb for writing those words. Powerful. If you could just visualize, if we had all of those things, you know what? The world would be all right if everybody had those things. And see, that's the part I agree of. Because they put into words the thoughts and feelings of those of us who don't have the ability or the opportunity to voice our needs and our wants. So thank you again for that one. Thank you, girlfriend. In the interest of time, because I know you all are smelling the food. And so, next, we want to bring up two representatives of the socio-political community. First of all, this young woman needs no introduction. We all know her as Councilwoman Joanne Watson. She has a tendency to wake people up. Wake up, Detroit. And also, at the same time, in the interest of time, I want to bring up Elder Balagoon right after Joanne. Elder Balagoon has a long history going all the way back to the early days of the RNA, Republic of New Africa. So, Joanne, can you finish? Okay, you want Elder Balagoon, would you come on?
You before you.
It is an honor to be here to honor our sister, our queen sister Aneb, Dr. Gloria House. We just love Aneb. We love, and I mean we love Aneb. We love Aneb. We hurt somebody about Aneb. Yes, we do. Walking in the footsteps of Ida B. Wells, Gwendolyn Brooks, Queen Mother Rosa Parks, Queen Mother Moore, Queen Mother Mabel Williams, Fannie Lou Hamer, Bishop, Mother Aisha Carter, Harriet Tubman, Queen Mother Aisha Carter, Queen Nzinga, Queen Malkia Banchuo, Yah Santewa, Mother Irma Henderson, Maya Angelou, Dr. Dorothy Irene Height, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, Madam C.J. Walker, and others. On behalf of the Detroit Council of Elders, we have a little something to put in your pocket that won't make any noise in the collection plate. love you so. We treasure you so. We admire you so. We marvel at you so. We cherish you. We adore you. We give to you our hearts because you have already given us yours. We so always, always, always honor you because you have earned that respect. Hashem.
Hotel family. I'm gonna be as brief as I can, but I really wanted to kind of get this across. You know, it's truly an honor and a privilege for me to stand here before you at this gathering, this evening, to honor and pay homage and tribute to our dear sister Aneb. When I was invited to make a few remarks today, I really was at a quandary about where to start. You know, our dear sister's contribution to our struggle for liberation, equality, justice is so varied and numerous. It is truly a dilemma for me to know where to start. I mean, how does one become an educator, author, a lifetime community cultural worker, and political activist? Then I remember hearing somewhere or reading somewhere that the foundation of what is to become our lives is most often laid in the early years. On that foundation, there are cornerstones that give structure and strength to our existence. So the early years it is. So I would like to ask you all to take a journey back with me, back to the tumultuous decade they call the 60s, particularly the year 1965. To a place called Loads County, Alabama.
Oh, come on now.
Loads County, Alabama, let me give you a little history about it. At 1965, it was 80% black population, but not a single black citizen was registered to vote. That sounds familiar, no? More than half of the African American population in Loads County lived below the poverty line. So, right on cue, snicker ride in the county to organize a voter registration project. That organization became the LCFO, or the Loads County Freedom Organization. The party members adopted the Black Panther as their symbol for their independent political organization. That was the real first Black Panther Party. And of course, white supremacists in that area had a long history of extreme violence towards anyone who attempted to vote or otherwise challenge the all-white rule. Loads County Freedom Organization members didn't simply want to vote in other white candidates out of office and some new ones into office. Instead, they wanted to be able to vote for their own candidates. Now, our dear sister worked as a field secretary for the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee in Loads County, Alabama, during that period. Please put the emphasis on field and not on secretary. But we know our sister was not in the office typing and answering phones. She walked the road from can't see in the morning to can't see in the evening, going from plantation to plantation under the threat of violence all the while. Now, when some local young people decided that they wanted to boycott a local store, SNCC was certainly in support, in full support, helping them to organize and man the picket line. Y'all don't have to guess who was one of the picketers. On the front line as usual. About 5 minutes into the picket, the sheriff sent people to arrest them. They were hauled off in a filthy garbage truck and taken to an equally filthy county jail, Hayville. After about 2 weeks of no contact or word from SNCC, who was trying to raise their bail, they were told suddenly that they were being released without any prior notice. Certainly that raised some suspicion. They were forced off of jail property at gunpoint. While knowing that something was wrong, they decided to walk up the road a little way to the store, to call SNCC, try and ask somebody to come get them. They didn't get far before gunfire erupted. Some scattered to the woods, Others just dropped to the ground right where they were. Jonathan Daniels, a white Sumerian, was hit and died on the spot. Father Mauricio from Chicago was hit and paralyzed for a number of years. Now, I don't know about you all, but for me, that experience makes for one hell of a cornerstone. I can tell you from all experience that when the bullets get to flying and the smell of gunpowder is in the air, things get raised to another level. It makes me even more honored and thankful to be here today celebrating our sister's retirement. Now, Sister Aneb, I'm sure you've been asked many times already what's next. What are you going to do? What are you going to do now? We heard something that's in the works already. Now, I don't pretend to know the answer, but I'm certain that this will encompass these words that were penned by fellow sister warriors, poet, author, and educator. And still, I rise.
That she's a revolutionary. Can you imagine how revolutionary that was for a young girl in college, against her mother's wishes, I'm sure, to get on a bus, leave her comfortable surroundings, and go down south in the belly of the beast. Now, I'm from the south, so I know what the living conditions were down there. It wasn't like they had the highest accessible internet. The toilet was probably in the backyard, the water fountain was in the front yard, and mosquitoes were your constant companion. So, I mean, but the courage that took. How old were you the other day? When most of us are worried about getting our party on or our swag on, she was down in the belly of the beast. We're talking about educating the people. That's why I love you, girlfriend. That's why I appreciate you. To add some more words to our recognition of our sister, I'd like to call forth, representing Free Detroit No Consent, Mrs. Cicely McClellan and Mrs. Valerie Glenn. Make them feel welcome.
Free Detroit, no consent. Free Detroit, no consent. Free Detroit, no consent. Our organization grew out when they were about to impose emergency management. So they had a step that they called right before it, where they asked for your consent to go back into slavery, all right? And unfortunately, we had council people, the majority of them, that agreed to make consent, to go along with it. It's almost like what's happening right now, y'all, with the retirees. They asking for the seniors to make their consent, to give up all their rights, to give up their retirement, so Snyder can finish his control of the city of Detroit. But what was real important in this process is that we had what we call the word master. She has the uncanny, unique ability to take all these different thoughts from all these different people, and she can take 2 pages and turn them into a paragraph. And it's absolutely unique. And Aneb was a founder of Free Detroit, No Consent. And when they voted to give away our city, and Lord knows it was done on Martin Luther King's assassination, April 4, 2012. Now, dates don't happen for no reason. And it was done on that day. And since that time, steadfastly, everything has been taken from the city of Detroit. Belle Isle, Cobo, they're working on the water, the downtown authority has taken over the property. But Aneb was a founder and a person that provided us with the direction, the leadership that we truly needed. And if I could just digress for just a second, I met Aneb back in the 80s. And there was at a church called Aneb Congratulations. And it was an Episcopal church, and I couldn't even spell it, so I was Baptist by nature. But I went to this church, and it was just so unique. It was rich in history. It had the Broadside Press and Dudley Randall. I mean, books that many of us, it was a keeper of all our history. And I met Sister Aneb there. And ever since, I've always known her to be true to the struggle. Whatever role she plays, she's going to be there, and she's always going to be true. She makes everyone, absolutely everyone, feel important. And I love you for that, and thank you, my sister.
Just like Sesame just said, Ebony, Sesame. Ebony just said, she corrected me. I met Aneb somewhere around 1970. I cannot remember the exact date. That was 40-some years ago. I was at the University of Michigan. And we had either shut down the university or was about to shut down the university. Our first day on strike. And I called for Aneb to come up and talk to some sisters because she had gone through some, I read about her in one of the mainstream papers. And she refused to back down on her position involving something involving the Black community. In Detroit, I can't even remember what that house was, but she drove to Ann Arbor late at night, sat down with us, and gave us the encouragement that we needed to go forward with whatever we were about to do, because our parents thought we were completely crazy. We were out of school for at least 6 to 8 weeks. Joanne Watson rode in my car every day along with Sam Ricardo and Ida Short to give some help to convince the people in the city to let them know that we were not insane and what was actually going on. We leaned on her then. We have learned that she's been a pillar, a leader. She's been right there at the nexus of whatever problem the culture is going through at the time, whatever the actual, she's been right there at the brain of the problem. She's a real revolutionary, she's a real teacher, and she's a real friend. And I want to thank you, Aneb, for everything you do.
For a little change of pace, we'd like to bring forward a special presentation by Sister Ayi Mohammed and the children of Al-Nur. Make them feel welcome.
This poem is called You Have to Hear It Again by Mama Dr. Gloria House. A Moses, a Bill, tattoos, Isaac. We want cool forests and mountain streams. We want bright sunlight and blue skies. We want clean air for our babies to breathe. We want soul to work. We want nights to rest. We want peace to pray. We want bread to eat. We want life. We want strength for the day and hope for the dawn. We want to defeat our foes. We want Africa in our hearts and minds, and the tenderness in our touch. We want wisdom to send the way. We want soul work. We want nights to rest. We want peace to rest. We want bread to eat. We want life. We want peace and rest. We want bread to eat. We want life.
exposure at such a young age. When most of us, myself included, were up the hill, shall we say, not over it, but at least up the hill, when we first became aware of African culture. And people like some of the drummers, I've known them before they were brought up. They came here with African culture indoctrinated into their lifestyle, into their daily living. young people like that who will make a difference. Who was it that said, save the babies because they are the future. Our future is bright. And now, we'd like to bring forth some of Aneb's co-workers from the universities. First, let's bring up Brother Ahmed Rahman, and he's going to introduce the next speaker as well. Let's give him a big hand.
Greetings again. I first met Aneb. I was a teenager in Detroit. That was 1970. I was selling Black Panther newspapers, and I happened to knock on her door. I didn't know that's where she lived. Knocked on her door, and she bought a paper. And then I found out that later there was a Black Consciousness Library in Detroit. And one of the things that is significant about Aneb being a scholar and an activist, that she's not just on college campuses educating people, she's educating people everywhere. And I borrowed from that library the tape, Rest of Earth. And then the police raided our office and confiscated the tape. I wound up going to jail, and lo and behold, about 5 years later, who do I see come into the prison, bringing the first bachelor's program into any Michigan prison? Yes. From Wayne State University, Sister Aneb. Valley. The film. Valley. That's right. Valley. That's right. Now, I graduated from that program, and I think there are a couple other graduates from the program or students in the Michigan prison system. Where are they in here? I don't want to embarrass you, Matthew. Raise your hand, Matthew. There you are. And Donnie Brown here. Yeah. That's right. Matthew went on to get a master's in social work from the University of Michigan. Vincent Brown, I don't think is here yet. He got a master's in social work from the University of Michigan also after graduating from the program that Aneb brought into the prison system. Well, Aneb was teaching the truth in prison, and I don't mean that T-R-U-T-H, I'm talking about that T-R-O-O-F, the truth. And as a result was banned from coming into the prison. which I'm sure she's proud of. But she championed that cause there, as well as championing me getting out of prison, beginning a series of articles in the Detroit Free Press that helped me get out, and I really, thankful to all of the people here who supported Aneb in that work that she did. And later, I wound up teaching at the University of Michigan in Dearborn, and with Professor Marion Hayden, Professor Aurora Harris, where are you? Yeah. Professor Aurora Harris, and on behalf of all the colleagues at the University of Michigan in Dearborn, we're going to really miss our strongest warrior. Aneb was significant, and as a matter of fact, she was the one who's responsible for us getting an African American Studies minor, and then now we have an African American Studies major. African and African American Studies major. Due to the work that Sister Aneb has done, and it's significant that when she went to propose that major before the executive committee of the University of Michigan Dearborn, that the Black Student Union showed up in strength to let them know that we got her back, we're supporting this, and take care of this business, and they did. So we're really going to miss our sister, but we know that she's continuing in the struggle because she's been a warrior for our people since she was a young girl, and she's still young at heart, and that's just right. And we really appreciate and love you, my sister. Now, next we have our one of your colleagues from Wayne State University, Sister Daphne Interior. Would you please come forward?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Actually, repeat after me. Ekabo. Ekabo. All right. Well, as he said, my name is Daphne Interior, not Interior, but Interior. And come here and make a speech in front of this august body. You know, I have an accent, right? So I have to speak out loud. Right. That's good. Well, first let me say, getting to know Gloria, Professor Gloria House. It's like calling Obama. Calling President Obama. That's what I tell my students. Same thing here. Talking about Professor Gloria House, because as you know, we come from the academy, from the academic world, and it is important to recognize these people who are professors. I got to know Professor Gloria House almost, well, I missed the 60s. I missed the protests. It's nice to listen to you talk about what happened in the 60s here in Detroit. I was in my little small town of Freetown, Sierra Leone, West Africa. And I came here to Michigan State to study. And after I finished this, I came in as a single female, which was kind of quite of a challenge. But I managed to finish and got married, and then I moved to Detroit. I met Professor Gloria House when she served, I don't even think she remembers this, on the Detroit Council of the Arts, along with people like Don Lirando of Broadside Press. I had a project, a book project that I wanted to get published. And on the board, there was some disagreement about what kind of a book I had in my hand. Well, needless to say, if you have Professor Gloria House on your side, you know what happens, right? Right. So I found out that I had this lady, whom I had never met before, called Professor Gloria House, but she was so taken by the project that she said that she leaned heavily on getting it funded. Well, following that success, let's put it that way, I started getting close, as close as could get to Professor Gloria House. And Professor Gloria House has been instrumental. That was about, I'm talking about something 33 years ago, 34 years ago. She was also instrumental in my getting into Wayne State, where we were colleagues. And there's a big smile on my face when I think about Wayne State, because we had some very hard times and some very good times together. Professor Gloria House is a poet, first of all, but she's an exemplary person in many ways. She's an exemplary teacher. She's a distinguished professor. You don't hear that word, distinguished professor, right? She's very productive in terms of publications. She is an enlightened citizen. She's a political activist. She's an extraordinary, as you all have said, political leader. But beyond that, Gloria, my friend, is a transformative force in a lot of lives. And I say that because at the university, most of us don't know that, but it's a world of its own. It's that Ivy Tower to talk about, where you have at university, at Wayne State University, you have a whole university with about 2,000 professors, right? And you can count on your fingers how many black professors we have, right? We have about maybe 25, 30, it's not even 1% of the total amount of faculty at Wayne State. So Professor Gloria House, we had a thing called a senior essay that many students had to write at the end of their undergraduate degree. And many of the students had difficulty writing. And Professor House would spend, she saw, the degree of selflessness of Gloria's part is incredible. She would spend hours with these students, really getting them to start writing and to give them the confidence, because it's not about not writing, it's just having the confidence to write. And Professor Gloria House would spend hours getting these students to write their papers and to complete their papers so that they can graduate. That's a wonderful thing. Professor Gloria House is also a wonderful team player. Even though people sometimes have problems with that at university, but she's a great team player as far as I'm concerned. And her field is limitless. She can play that ball. Now, if you remember the American Mosaic that she did, I mean, up to today, people remember that on TV. It was a TV program I think in 1976, if I'm not correct. And a lot of people even today remember that. They still use that to instruct. One of the things I like about Gloria, I have to share, just a little bit about when I talk, you get a little nervous, but it's a wonderful thing to see Gloria in a session with people, in a discussion, or in in a meeting, actually, let's put it as a meeting. When Gloria starts, the discussion starts in one direction. And you know, her communication skills, she's so dynamic. She's so comfortable with herself. I would watch Gloria in these meetings where we're trying to hire a staff or we're trying to make a decision that's anti-black or that's anti-something. And the decision starts on the left. And it's a wonderful thing to watch her play her tactics. And it gradually moves with that little low-pitched voice. I'm watching this. And Gloria is moving this discussion. Nobody knows what's happening. It's moving. At the end of this whole thing, it's like, what happened? I mean, I thought we started here. We won. Gloria won. Gloria won again. It's a wonderful thing. Gloria was, yeah, she, as you said, she has done so much for people, for me, for my family, for everybody that I know. And she's going to continue to do good things. But let me share some personal reflections that are humorous. There were 3 of us black faculty in the interdisciplinary studies program. And Gloria did a lot. She was part of the Black Students Movement, setting up the Black Studies department that we have today called African Studies, where I am now. And 3 of us would go to lunch regularly. Of course, to talk about the politics of the department, the politics of the university, and all of that. Well, 3 academics together. We all sit there and this discussion is going nowhere, right? Because everybody wants to win. So we'll talk and talk and talk, and the end of the discussion is like, so who won? No, we're looking to Gloria for guidance. Gloria, what do you think? Well, that's what it is, right? So Gloria was the kind of leader that she is. So we would always look to Gloria when we go for lunch, and we went to lunch regularly. Another thing I remember about Gloria is when we went to China. We were part of a delegation to Nanjing, China, and Gloria and I had to share the room together. And this is kind of interesting, right? It's kind of interesting. So the Chinese people saw us, and they were very happy. I'm talking about something 20 years ago, so we were much younger. And so we went, and the Chinese people saw us, and they said, oh God, yes, black people here, yeah, we can get some loud hip-hop music now, so. So they put on this hip-hop music, and Gloria looked at me and said, where's the key? I said, what do you mean the key? What do you mean? She said, I want the key right now. I said, what's going to happen to me? What do you think? She said, I'm going to the room. I said, well, I'm coming with you too. Are you going to meet me here to dance with the Chinese? That was kind of interesting. Gloria, we'll miss you, but I know you're not going to retire right now. You have too much energy. You have too much commitment. And if you put as much time into your work as you're going to put into your retirement is going to be as wonderful as can be. You know, it's wonderful as can be. You know, one other quick thing. Gloria is my really good friend, but I'm still excited to get into the inner circle. Because her African name is Aneb. She doesn't know this stuff, so I'm just sharing with you. Her name is Aneb, and she wants me to call her Gloria. I said, well, Gloria, I'm the African. I should be calling you Aneb. She said, no, not yet. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is so nice to be here tonight. And as you can see, I have a smile on my face because when we're talking about Gloria, it's always a good thing. Gloria has been good to the world. She has been good to people. She continues to be good to people. Gloria, whatever you made of, we're going to learn what it is and package it so we can share it with the world. Thank you.
And you know, everything people say just reminds me of when I first saw Sister Aneb. She was the host of a television program called American Mosaic. What year was that, Aneb? In the 70s. I didn't know her, but I saw her on this program. And I had the same response that you had, Daphne. Here was the iron fist in the velvet glove. She could deliver a knockout punch to her or her guests, and they would even know they were not.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
She was so smooth, like you said, never raised her voice, always had that quiet to ask those people 70 and older, please come up and serve first. And then our committee members will call the tables to come up and be served. And of course, we're going to do this quietly because we have to continue with the program because we've got to be out of here at a certain time. And we've got a lot more to cover yet. We're going to ask Brother Aneb to please bless the food.
Hello. We want to ask the blessings of the Creator, by whatever name you call him, Jehovah, God, Allah, that he brings down his blessings on this food, on this assembly, and we are very grateful to the Creator for having the beauty of this meeting. Amen.
Amen. That was short and sweet, wasn't it? Okay, in the interest of moving right along. So, those people who are 70, anybody 70, over 70, you all actually should be at the front of the line. And then we're going to ask that people 69 to 60, because that's the way we do it in African tradition. The elders are served first. That's respect. Now, the people in the line, please, 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 I'm going to have to ask that you, I know you're excited because you're getting ready to eat. However, we're going to continue with the program. So we need you to contain yourselves and keep your voices down. Okay, because next, we have a very historic group coming to perform for us. As you know, the cultural tradition in Detroit started back in the 70s. And the people that are coming to us, thank you so much. That's Aneb's daughter-in-law. You can see she's portraying well. Daughter-in-law, daughter-in-law. Okay, so the cultural tradition in Detroit has a long history. And as a part of that history, we remember Brother Sundiata Keita, Brother Modibo, Sister Wajida, and several other people who were instrumental in the formation of the first African drum and dance group in this city. And the name of that group was Aneb Rock. Well, the Ashanti drums and dancers, okay, my bad. And then Aneb Rock. And tonight we have representatives of Aneb Rock here to perform and add to the celebration for Sister Aneb Gloria House. So make them feel welcome.
Brother Jarman, right? Jeff, I'm sorry.
Hey, Jara. Jara.
Okay, so now, the meetings need to be going right along. Shame on you.
Y'all live on Facebook right now. Yep.
However, there are still
On Aneb's page. Go to Dr. Gloria House. You'll see. You'll come up and watch it.
our tribute to Sister Aneb.
I've been trying to tell them this for years. They want this.
For the Herd Boy.
All over the world, people watch all over the world.
Oh, and for those of you who don't know, the gospel story is that way.
I help you out.
Also,
I help you out.
there is wine in the lobby that's available for small donations. Where's her? Okay. Okay.
Okay, I'll be very brief. I'd like to read a poem that I wrote for Aneb. Poets in this society are typically the first among artists who are apprehended and oppressed the government because they speak for the people and their channels for the people. So our poets are very important in terms of the maintenance of our culture. We were doing a piece at the Charles Wright Museum on Dudley Randolph and Naomi Long Magic, and I had the opportunity to really look at the lives of a number of poets. And what came to me was Aneb when I wrote this poem. Who are these poets? Dedicated to Aneb, Dr. Gloria House. Who are these poets? Who are these poets that channel the spirits of our fearless ancestors? Who are these poets that bend the sound of words into daggers that pierce the heart of our oppressors? Who are these women, these men, these children who use vibrations of sound to transport our spirits into sacred terrains? Who train our inner ears to hear and know our true selves? Who are these poets whose words escape the limits of time, who intertwine in the roots of our ancient African culture and open our eyes to a collective, empowering future? Who are these poets, these freedom fighters, who lift up the veil of false illusions and shield our eyes from the blindness of whiteness with cool shades of understanding? They walk among us with deep, piercing eyes that feels their way through this and other worlds. Who are these poets, these Black Africana saints and would-be saints who lift us up over the waters of our trials and tribulations? Who are these poets whose syllabalistic musicality make us dance to bebop and hip-hop and search with Google eyes to find new meanings of words and rhymes? They are the clock keepers of time. Who are they? Expanding our sensibilities, expanding our hopes, expanding our abilities to survive, to fight for our and our children's lives. I love you.
Hello, my name is Michael Hammer. I've known Aneb since I think it was about 1961. And part of the subculture that Gloria is a part of, and probably many of you are, that subculture are people of that time who face the horror of America and took up the fight against it. During that time, beginning in 1955, with Little Rock and SCLC and Rosa Parks, those of us in the North, those of you who were in the North, could only sit by and watch from afar what was going on down there. The young people of SNCC and the people of SCLC Corps were facing really the devil with a gun. I know because I was born and grew up in Mississippi. And there's no place on earth ever any worse than Mississippi was at the time that I was there and the time that preceded me. So I want to, it's especially important that Aneb is recognized for what she did and what she and many other young people did in the South. Let me just address that a minute. A brother earlier made mention of this. This is a book called Hands on the Freedom Plow, Personal Account by the Women of SNCC. To what they face.
Put your mic up.
I just want to call your attention to what they face. And this is Aneb's writing in contribution to this book. This brother mentioned it earlier, but let me give it to you in our own words. By the end of the summer, I had become part of the Lowndes County SNCC group and was jailed in Haynesville County seat for picketing in a grocery store to demand hiring of black people. This is in Alabama. Approximately 30 demonstrators, including Jonathan, the priest, friend of hers, were arrested. Some of them teenagers. We were herded into a garbage truck and taken to the small two-story Haynesville jail. Men put into cells upstairs, 3 women, Ruby Sales, Joyce Stokes, and myself, put into a cell on the ground floor. Filthy water covered the floor. Mattresses on the box were a lice ridden, and an overwhelming stench enveloped everything. 3 women sang freedom songs so loudly that the men upstairs heard us to join in. In this way, we passed the time in a fairly good frame of mind while we waited for the SNCC staff to raise our bail. After 2 weeks, on August 20th, a guard came to open our cell and tell us we were being released on our own recognizance. We hadn't had any word